I'm hypnotized. What's up is down, what's left is right. Chasing stars and holding you. I can't see the end, but we'll see it through. Times don't fly too high. Be sure to keep the ground in sight. Fly forever if you keep it tight. Love the world but keep the sky on your mind. So high I'm hypnotized. What's up is down, what's left is right. Chasing stars and holding you. I can't see the end, but we'll see it through. Times don't fly too high. Be sure to keep the ground in sight. Fly forever if you keep it tight. Love the world but keep the sky on your mind.
Hello, hello, hello. Hello, hello, hello. Welcome. Today we are in the beautiful country of Japan. Hello there. Hello, 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 and welcome to another live stream. Today we are in Japan, on the island of Hokkaido. Hokkaido is where we are today. We will be flying in the Shikotsu Toya National Park area. That is the region that we're going to be flying in. Currently, we are at the new Cheetos Airport. If I'm butchering those pronunciations, I apologize to anybody Japanese. But we are flying in the new. We are flying from New Cheetos Airport, which is a very beautiful airport. It does have scenery available for free from flightsim.to, which we'll be using today. We'll take a closer look at it in a minute. As you can see, the aircraft we're flying today is the Beechcraft Baron G58. Looking lovely here, but that is what we'll be flying today. Now, right before we get underway here, let me just fiddle with a few settings. Won't be long. I don't know if anybody is watching this. I don't think so. Okay, and today I have made sure that I have the throttle and the joystick on standby so that we don't have any issues while we fly. We don't have any issues with the controller while we fly. Alright, I don't think there's a point in further delay. Let's go ahead and get our aircraft started. Now, let's talk a little bit about the airport we're in currently. We've got, as you can tell, it's raining right now, and we've got our doors open, which is not good. That is the airport. Very large airport, actually. Well, not very large, but it's a large airport. Gotta close all this stuff here. So let's go around and just make sure that we're all closed up. We don't want all this rain to be getting in now, do we? Okay, so let's try close this. Can I close it? Okay, I'll just go inside and close that. The walk around mode, let's exit that. We're inside the aircraft, ladies and gentlemen. Here we go. Perfection. Righty, okay. So let's close up that door here. There we go. Everything else is closed. And we are dry inside. Lovely, lovely weather. It is live weather, but not live time. Japan, it's currently nighttime in Japan, and we're flying at 11:30 a.m., so a little bit behind, but the weather is on live weather. Anyway, RJCC, let's take a closer look at this handcrafted free scenery from flightsim.to. It does have a few issues, but apart from that, it's a beautiful, beautiful airport. We'll have a look at it. It sits at an elevation of 82 feet, and it has a runway of 9,843 feet in length. Now, it was opened in 1988 as Hokkaido's main airport, so it was supposed to be the main airport for the entire island, right? And it is shared with the Japanese Air Force, or rather the Air Self-Defense Force. So that is this beautiful, beautiful airport here. Let's have a look at this. Oh, there is some ANA and JAL cargo, what I assume to be warehouses, storages, whatever you call this. There you go. The cargo departments are right there. There is an interesting looking hangar further up there. Let me increase the drone speed so we can zoom around a little quicker. There we go. Now, it is one of Japan's busiest regional getaways, or gateways, if you will. It is quite busy, especially in the winter. There's an empty hangar here. Seems to be handcrafted, but there's an empty hangar there. Okay, plenty of textures that are very crappy in 2024, as usual. Very crappy textures as usual in 2024, but let's take a closer look at the terminal area and the buildings, etc., etc. I'm wondering, how do you enter this airport? Where is the entrance from the road? I have no idea how you enter this airport. I cannot seem to figure that out. I don't think it's here. It must be in the other end. There it is. Yep, that's how you enter the airport. Here it is. This is how you drive into the airport. Right here we can see the roads, systems, etc. And we've got we've got one giant terminal, really. There is a sign right there, New Cheetos Airport. The textures is just horrible in 2024. Always. Just absolute trash. That's terrible. But anyway. We've got our New Cheetos Airport sign. Looking very good. Very nice. Got one area here with a bunch of gates, which I'm assuming might be for domestic or something like that. Perhaps. I'm not sure. Got China Eastern here, so that's not exactly domestic, but got a giant walkway kind of thing, excuse me, attaching it to the larger arc-shaped terminal building here with the gate numbers outside. Very nice. So as you can tell, it's a beautiful airport, and it does have some large traffic here. Yeah, not too bad, not too bad. We are parked off, where again? Where are we parked off to? This side. I believe we're parked off to this side. Yeah, we are. Right here. Okay? We are at the stands right here. There we go. Beautiful aircraft. Beechcraft Baron G58. What we'll be taking for a trip today. So, we'll see that the entire place is surrounded by a lot of volcanic terrain. A lot of the features have been formed by past volcanic activity. Today we'll be taking off from Cheetos and then we'll be flying off to Lake Toya. And on our way to Lake Toya, we'll be flying over Lake Shikotsu. We'll reach Lake Toya, take a look at Nakajima Island, and then from there we'll head on down towards Lake Katura. All right. We'll head on towards Lake Katura and we will land at RJSB Okadama. Apparently that's where we're landing at. I'm not so sure if we are. I'm not so sure if that's where we are actually landing. Let me take a look at that again. It might have been a mistake there. It might have been a mistake. RJSB. I don't think. What is RJSB called? That's not Okadama. No, it's not. RJSB is Shiraoi Airport. Okay, that is where we're landing today, not Okadama. So we're landing at Shiraoi Airport. Shiraoi Airport. Okay, so that is where we'll be landing at and calling it a day. Brilliant. Now, without further delay, let's go ahead and get this aircraft started up from cold and dark. Okay, that is one way to... What the hell is going on here now? Oh, let's go here. Turn it to the cockpit view. There we go. Ta-da! Okay, let's get this started up, shall we? Starting this up is very easy. Let's pull down our cowl flaps. Okay, I don't need to do that first. Okay, left and right batteries. Talk about, we'll turn on the alternators, avionics masters. We'll turn on the fuel pumps real quick. Let's turn on the engine condition, the mixture rather. Propellers to max. And then we have the fuel selectors on. Yes. Let's go ahead and start this aircraft. There we go. Engine on the left, climbing. All right. Let's go ahead and start the right hand engine right there. Perfecto. Perfect. We can turn off the fuel pumps actually. You can leave the cowl flaps open. Give it a little bit of throttle to make sure it's alive. Yes, it is. Give it a bit of time to warm up there. Pitot heat's on. What else do we need today? Oh god, why isn't it zooming in? Okay. What else do we need today? In terms of icing, we're not gonna worry about any of that. Nav lights, beacon lights, we should have turned those on first, but doesn't matter. Landing lights are here, taxi lights are here. To see this, I need to go down a little bit. Panel lighting, we'll turn that on. Ice lights can remain off. Okay, that's it pretty much. Prop sync, yeah, I know, and why not? Okay, just like that, we are ready to taxi once we put our flaps down. There we go, flaps going down towards what position again? APH, approach, I believe, and takeoff maybe. Either case, we've got that done. Gear is down, parking brake is set, and just like that, ladies and gentlemen, we are ready for takeoff. Now, if we look at a windsock somewhere here, I don't see one. Okay, oh, there it is. There's a windsock. We'll taxi down here. Okay, we'll taxi down here. We take this taxiway, and we'll head on towards this runway that we see right here. We'll check the windsock to let us know which direction the wind is. I might just take off in this direction anyway. Before we go any further, let's actually have the route send directly here to the avionics. I don't want to fiddle with the avionics to set this up. So if we look at the route here, if I just zoom out, we're first going to go to Lake Toya and then towards our final destination of RJSP. Okay, pretty much ready. Alrighty. Without further delay, I shall release the parking brakes and give it a bit of throttle. Open it up. There we go. We are on our way. Okay. A little off there, but that's okay. There we go, ladies and gentlemen. On our way. On our way. Is there nobody in the chats? I don't see anybody in the chats today. That's something. All right. Okay, trying to pay attention here. Focus. Just fiddling with some stream settings there. Anyway. There we go. Let's make our way onto the runway. Make our way onto the runway. Make our way onto the runway. Obviously, we're flying an aircraft that barely needs any runway room to take off. Man, I really miss 2020. I really do. I really do. 2024 is just annoying. It's just annoying. Let's take the turn here. Okay, we do have favorable wind in this direction actually. That's a good thing. We have favorable wind in this direction. We are 20 minutes into the live stream, ready to take off. Let's go ahead. Let's go ahead and turn on our landing lights and strobe lights. There we go. Now there is one serious glitch, or rather an interesting fact with this scenery. The runway is actually painted orange for some reason. Anyway, not gonna bother about that. Let's get ourselves out of here. Let's get ourselves out of here. Okay, we are. Let's look at the gear. There we go. Leaving behind New Cheetos Airport. There we go. Brilliant. Head back in there. Can actually push the flaps up if we wanted to. So let's actually go ahead and do that. Let me actually turn on the autopilot for a second. And I'll hold the altitude for the current time being. Let's push our cowl flaps up as well. Now, which way are we going? Let's turn on heading mode and turn this way. Let's also have our nav on standby. Oh, we're going too fast. Let's turn down the RPM on the propeller. Very important, otherwise we'll have engine malfunctions. And we need to throttle down because we need to lose some speed here. There we go. Leave it there. And let's ask it to climb towards 3,500 nose up. There we go. Perfect. Let's turn a little bit more in so that we can capture the track to turn on our GPS. Perfect. Perfect. We got flaps up. We've got cowl flaps up. Everything else is looking good. Landing lights off, taxi lights off. Okay. That is pretty good. Climbing up to 3,500. There it is, ladies and gentlemen. We've just left behind the airport right there. We are on our way towards Lake Toya. Just capture the nav as quickly as possible. So let's just turn in. Let's turn in. Alrighty. Got the lovely rain that we can see. Very beautiful. Love flying into rain in MSFS. Look at that. Look at how lovely that is. I like it. I like it a lot. I like it a lot. Isn't it lovely? It is absolutely beautiful. It is beautiful. Come on. Okay, we should be able to capture the GPS any second now. Give it a bit more throttle, open it up. There we go, we're on GPS. Excellent. Opening up the throttle a little bit more. See what the passengers are seeing. Look at that. Beautiful. Beautiful. What a wonderful view. Look at that. That would be a nice flight to grab. I love rainy flights. I really do. Makes me feel so cozy. Speaking of which, I really need a coffee. But anyway, we seem to be doing just fine. We seem to be doing just fine. We just need to open up the throttles a little bit more here, actually. So we can go a little bit faster. Right? So we can go a little bit faster and reach Lake Toya quite quickly. We're almost there already. So that's brilliant. Let's head on outside. head on outside. Oh, look at that. Look at that view. Hello, Anas. Hello. It's going well. It's going well. We've just taken off and we're enjoying the beautiful scenery along the way. Welcome. Welcome. It's going well, man. How are you doing today? Thank you so much for tuning in. Here we are in Japan and the scenery is absolutely breathtaking. We're on our way to Lake Toya, and on the way we are passing Lake Shikotsu, I believe, is what we're looking at off to our right. Okay, we're passing Lake Shikotsu off to the right. Beautiful. Beautiful stuff. Look at that. Oh, we might be heading for the mountains. Might need to get in the cockpit here. Let me try and do that. Ooh, we're definitely gonna hit, aren't we? So I'm gonna take manual control here and just guide ourselves a little up here. Like so. Give it a bit more of throttle there. Just so we avoid the mountains. That is a close call right there. But we are good now. There we go. We can bring the throttles down. There we go. Lovely. That is Lake Shikotsu to our right, ladies and gentlemen. What a lovely weather to fly in. I like this weather. I hope you guys are enjoying this just as much as I am. Going a little bit too fast for comfort. Definitely too fast for comfort. Because we are descending right now. After that climb. Okay, our RPM is a little on the high end. Once we finish our descent, I think we'll be okay. Looking lovely. How are you doing, Anas? How are you doing? Okay, there we go. We can now open up our throttles. Lovely. Lovely stuff. Beautiful scenery. Look at that. That is lovely. That is lovely. See what the passenger is seeing right there. Beautiful. Beautiful. Okie dokie. Now, again, we are overspeeding slightly. We need to cut that out. We need to cut that out. Once we reach near the area of Lake Toya, we'll take manual control. Take manual control of the aircraft. RPM is a little high. Going to reduce that slightly. Looking good. This place is beautiful. It is a bit bumpy today, the flight, but nonetheless. I can't find any... how big is the lake that we are going to? I have no idea, actually. How large exactly it is. Let me have a look. Maybe... Yeah, it does have a whole island in it. Now, Lake Toya, where we're heading to, is actually a caldera lake. Okay, it was formed about 100,000 years ago. And currently we are flying over the Shikotsu Toya National Park. That's what we're flying over right now, in case you're wondering why we're seeing such beautiful scenery and mountains and all of that stuff. This is a national park region that we're flying between. Because between the two lakes, we got Lake Shikotsu, which we just passed, and right there behind us, there is Lake Shikotsu. Between Lake Shikotsu and Lake Toya, which is coming up really quickly right there, is the Shikotsu Toya National Park, which we're flying over. Okay, now this lake is not that very large, to be honest. However, it does have 4 little islands in the middle. They're called Nakajima Island. I think collectively called Nakajima Island. So there is a nearby volcano that's actually still active, Mount Usu. Last eruption in 2000. It's actually nearby Lake Toya. So we might be able to well, there's so many mountains here, I won't be able to exactly tell which one it is, but near to Lake Toya there is Mount Usu, which is an active volcano. We might be able to spot it along the way. So we'll talk more about Lake Toya as we reach it. Shikotsu Toya National Park that we're flying over obviously has a lot of lakes, volcanic activities. It has a lot of resorts, and it has a lot of alpine plant life and features. So as we can see, there's a lot of alpine looking trees all around us, right? That's what's a characteristic of Shikotsu Toya National Park. Entire flight today is within the park boundary. So we take off from Cheetos, and from there pretty much the entire flight is in the flight plan. Now let's switch to heading mode here, and that will take us directly to Nakajima Island now. So we can check out this area before we turn back in towards our airport to land. So this area is geologically active with a lot of volcanoes and stuff like that. Look at how beautiful this entire region is. Lovely. Okay. So we'll talk about Lake Toya in a bit. Lake Shikotsu is also a caldera lake, just like Lake Toya. All right. Only Lake Shikotsu is 40,000 years old. Lake Toya is 100,000 years old. Lake Shikotsu that we just passed is the second deepest lake in Japan, 363 meters, and it is ice-free all year round. Okay, it is surrounded by a few mountains, and it has very clear water. Like we did see, it was very clear, and it is a popular destination for canoeing and sightseeing. Now, Lake Toya. Let's head on to Lake Toya. Here it is, dead ahead of us. Yes, Anas, I'm aware that there are no stats displaying for the time being. Thank you for pointing it out again, reminding me. Let me fix that right away. Okay. Let me fix that right away. Here we are coming up on Lake Toya. Unfortunately, the airport we're trying to land at is not recognized. So that is the problem. The airport we're trying to land at is not recognized for some reason. So that is the reason why I can't put it in. So that is why there are no details at the departure and arrival, Anas. The airport that we're landing at is not really recognized. Okay? It's actually a flying club. Shiraoi is actually a flying club that we're going to land in today's flight. Anyway, let's talk more about this beautiful lake that we're flying over right now. Lake Toya, ladies and gentlemen. Look at that. What a beautiful scene that is. Lake Toya. Okay, so nearby there's an active volcano. Now, I don't know if we'll be able to spot it, but it's some way. Ah, there it is. I believe that is the active volcano. One of these two have to be the active volcano. I believe it's this right here. Lake I mean, Mount Usu, it has to be. We'll take a closer look, hopefully. Mount Usu. It is actually declared part of a UNESCO Global Geopark. And there are some great hills around, as you can tell. And it is actually a popular spot for fireworks shows. Who knew? Who knew? Now, right now, we are flying directly overhead Nakajima Island. So like I said, 1, 2, 3, 4 islands. 1, 2, 3, 4 island. This is the main island of, I forget the name of this island, but yeah, Nakajima. And there is a trail that starts here and goes around the island like so. That is quite popular for trekking. So we'll take a closer look at that in a bit. Excellent. Let's see Nakajima. Well, what can we talk about Nakajima Island? As you can tell, it's in the middle of a lake. It is a caldera system, obviously. Part of ancient volcanic activity, and it's uninhabited, right? It is uninhabited entirely apart from the tours that take place and the visitors. So it does have its own internal crater, and we'll take a closer look at that in a bit. It is ideal, obviously, to fly in these flights. Now, let's go ahead and have a bit of fun. Let's go ahead and have a bit of fun. Let's disconnect autopilot. There we go. Let us go ahead manually and have a little bit of fun. Look at that. There we go. How do I like the Beechcraft Baron so far? Anas, to be honest, it's actually a fun aircraft to fly. It sounds really, really nice. So it sounds really, really nice. The engine sounds are absolutely amazing, as you guys can hear very well. The engine sounds are brilliant. It is fun to fly, and it comes as part of MSFS 2024. It is one of the better aircraft in 2024 because 2024 is packed with absolutely garbage aircrafts from time to time. So it really is. There's a lot of aircrafts that are just there for the sake of adding aircraft, so to speak. But this one is a fairly good one. Okay. So let's have a bit of fun in Nakajima Island. So somewhere here you'll see a couple of buildings, and that is probably the only building you'll see on the entire island of Nakajima. There it is behind us. You'll see a couple of buildings here. Okay, and that is those right there. Now that's a starting point of a hiking trail that goes around the island. Okay, literally follows the island and cuts halfway through it. Now let's go in. Oh, I hope we don't stall. Let us go in and view this island. You can ignore the warnings and stuff. I mean, it's a Beechcraft Baron. It's not entirely designed for stunt flying per se, but just having a bit of fun here. Exploring this island of Nakajima, not very large at all. Let's give it power. It loses airspeed very, very easily in a turn, this aircraft. Making sure our RPM is still within the acceptable range here. I don't want an engine malfunction. Flying low to have some fun, Anis. To have some fun. We have to fly low. Go. Come on. Brilliant. Got so much to monitor in this aircraft when we're flying crazy like this. Airspeed tends to get away from you very quickly. So does the engine RPM and condition. So we got to be careful here. We're just messing around in Nakajima Island. Oh, we're too fast. Way too fast. See what I mean? That airspeed creeps up on you so quickly and it drops just as quick. So we got to be very careful here to make sure we avoid damaging the aircraft. Beautiful stuff. Very beautiful. Look at that. Okay. Anyway, That is Nakajima Island, ladies and gentlemen. Hope you enjoyed that little one. Now, let us turn around and head towards Lake Kotai. Wait. I'm pretty sure I got that name wrong. Give me a second. While I turn around and climb ourselves to 3,000 feet. Actually, you know what? Let's do a terrain hugging flight all the way back. That would be fun. Lake Kutara is where we're going now, okay? We're heading on towards Lake Kutara. It is almost perfectly circular. The lake is almost perfectly circular. That's an interesting fact about Lake Kutara. Lake Kutara, okay? It is almost perfectly circular. Now, the remainder of the journey, let's do it hugging the terrain. Shall we do that? Let's do that. Okay, so here we go. Ooh, look at how quickly we gain speed there. That is mad. That is mad.
500.
This aircraft definitely needs a throttle quadrant to fly like in this manner. Because you need to make some quick adjustments. That airspeed is probably the most finicky. It's overspeeding 1 second, it's stalling the next. It doesn't take long. There isn't much. So let's have a bit of fun flying so close to the ground. Let's have a bit of fun, shall we? Let's do that. Let's head straight towards Lake Kotai, following the ground. The top speed that we can comfortably reach is about 170. 175 is close to the limits in terms of indicated airspeed. So yeah, that's as much as we can go on this particular aircraft. Anything above that, you're in dangerous territory. By the time you reach around 200 knots, you have probably caused some damage. So it isn't a very quick aircraft, but the way it accelerates and decelerates is crazy. It doesn't take much, so it's very finicky. You gotta be very careful when you're flying this thing. Woo, that is fun. Look at that. And just like that, we're almost stalling now. And soon we'll be almost overspeeding. That's how this aircraft works. So you gotta have your hand on the throttle 24/7. And it's very bumpy today, as you can tell. The winds are not kind to us. I can't check the wind right now because I'm flying it really low and I got my hands full. Can't really check the wind, but we're having fun. Yes, we are. Look at that. This is how we're flying right now. Low over this wooded area. It's like a forest. We're almost stalling again. Let's give ourselves some... open up that throttle right there. Wow. Let's dip back down. And now we need to close the throttle before we overspeed. Beautiful. Beautiful. In case you're wondering why I'm doing all of this, just a bit of entertainment on our way towards Lake Kotai, which is nearly round. Now, Lake Kotai is only 2.5 kilometers in diameter. It is a closed-off lake with no rivers or streams feeding in or out of the lake. And it is one of Japan's cleanest. Visibility up to 19 meters. That is crazy. It is often overlooked, but it is beautiful from the air, so that's what we're going to go check that out for. Let's check out that. And right next to that lake is the airport where we're landing today and calling it a day. All right. So we don't have much to go now on our journey. On our journey. Look at that. Beautiful stuff. Lake Kotai. Lake Lake Katura. Lake Kutara. What am I saying? Why do I keep calling it Lake Kotai? It's not Kotai, it's Kutara. Why do I keep calling it Kotai? Japanese names tend to confuse me. I am a huge fan of Japanese culture and Japan in general. I would love to visit Japan. Huge fan of the Japanese culture and the country itself. But for the life of me, I cannot get the names. Like, they don't stick in my head for some reason. Like, I'll call Lake Kutara Kotai for some reason, you know? So yeah, Lake Kutara. I correct myself again. Kutara. Let's just hug the ground and have a little bit of fun here. As we reach, we're not far off from there at all now. As you can tell from the navigation display, if you take a closer look at it, you'll see a tiny little blue circle that we tend to be heading towards, and that is... Holy moly. Oh, no, we're overspeeding just like that. See that? That's all it took. That's literally all it took. This thing is finicky. I need to pay closer attention. I really do. And just like that, we're gonna overspeed again. 500. We nearly overstressed and crashed right there. We really did. This is a nice little ravine. Let's fly through it. Let's fly through it. Let's see, can we make it? We seem to be able to make it. We're not exactly flying in the direction. Okay, actually we are kind of flying towards the lake. Whoa, that is... Okay, gotta be careful here. Open up the throttle before making that turn. Okay. Oh my goodness. Okay, this has turned into a stunt flight all of a sudden. This is supposed to be a harmless sightseeing tour, but it has turned into a little bit of a stunt flight, a little bit of a ravine. Couldn't resist. Fly the noob. This is what it's all about. Okay, we are right next to Lake Kutara. So let's turn off to the left and have a look at this beautiful lake that we've come to see. Where is it? Now, that is not Lake Kutara that we're seeing off to our right. That's the ocean. Yes, it is indeed, Anas. It's very risky in this aircraft, but let's find that lake, shall we? Let's find that lake. Let us find that lake. Find that lake. Find that lake. Find that lake. Let's find that lake. Okay. Let's see. But here at Fly the Noob, we gotta do a little bit of crazy flying, right? What's the point of doing something that doesn't make the passengers go? You gotta make them pray, you know? Is that the lake with the island? No. We passed the lake with the island. Lake Katura is the one that is perfectly round, and here we are in Lake Kutara. Again, not Katura, Kutara. Lake Kutara. I apologize, my Japanese viewers. I'm a huge fan, but just can't get the names right. I'd love to visit Japan someday. Just a huge fan of everything about Japan. Okay. So here we are at Lake Kutara, and look at how perfect it looks. It looks man-made. It's just nearly perfect circle. Look at how lovely it is. Beautiful, isn't it? Beautiful. Let's climb a little bit so we can take a better look from a higher altitude. But here we are making a lap around the lake, scaring the living bejesus out of our passengers. Look at that. This is a nice place. You know what? I should bring a jet here. I always say that on every live stream, don't I? I should bring a jet here and do a stunt flight. I don't think there is any place on the planet that you can't do a stunt flight unless it's like too plain. But look at this. This lake is just absolutely gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous. Okay, let's head straight up and have a look at this from the air, shall we? Whoa, look at those. Look at the clouds up there. What? That is beautiful. That is some absolutely gorgeous scenery. Look at that. Oh my word. If that isn't beautiful, I don't know what is. That is just lovely. Okay, anyway. We are stalling right now, so let's take a look at this lake from up above. Ignore the stall warning. Here it is. Unfortunately, Anas, I would love to do just a week of jet stunt flights with 2 lives a day, but I don't have that many jet aircrafts. The only thing that's really available to me are the F-18 and the F-14B. I have the Just Flight Vulcan, but that's not really a stunt. It's not suited to a stunt flight. It's a bomber. So we got the P-38, but you know, that's not exactly a fast aircraft. So yeah, maybe I should get my hands on a few more faster fighter aircrafts, and then we can try that. Look at this. Look at this absolutely gorgeous scenery as we fly up into the skies. Look at that. Absolutely stunning. Beautiful, isn't it? Beautiful, man. Just absolutely gorgeous. Sure, Anas, I'll give it a try. I'll definitely give it a try. This is just absolutely brilliant. It is so gorgeous. Okay, let's now head inside and land where we're supposed to. Okay, let's now head inside and land where we're supposed to. Look at this. My goodness. Okay. Okay, that's enough. Let me head in here and take us for landing before I overstress our aircraft here. Okay, throttle down a little bit. Close up the throttle a little bit and get ourselves facing the direction of where we want to land today. Let's see, can we locate this particular airstrip from this height? Yeah, we should be able to. We should be able to. It is somewhere nearby, very nearby actually. Shiraoi, I believe it's called, a flying club that we're trying to land into. There it is, right under us. There it is, right under us. I'm gonna throttle down, dip the nose so you guys can have a look at it. That is where we're landing today. Okay. So what we'll do is we'll land from the sea today. So we'll turn in and find ourselves a nice little... We've got Sky Dolly on standby here. There we go. And underneath us is the flying club. Okay, brilliant. Brilliant. We'll open up the throttles a little bit. Let's see, should we try a crazy landing? But the runway is pretty short, so I should probably do it a little bit more proper, yeah? Yeah, the runway is a bit too short. I mean, it's not that short. We can make it easily. Okay. I'll probably do a crazy landing then. Why not? Why not? This is, after all, Fly the Noob. Isn't it? Is it not? Look at that. Beautiful stuff. Absolutely gorgeous. Gorgeous. Anyway, heading in, throttle down completely, gear down, flaps down. Yes, sir. Now we turn around. We are stalling. We'll open up the throttle here. We've got some altitude on our side. Stalling and turning. Ta-da! And there we go. We want to land at around 110, 120. So let's go down here. Get our seals lined up. And make this landing. Sky dolly on. Yes, we have it on. Perfect. Here we go, ladies and gentlemen. Coming in for the landing. A short, sweet live stream today. Let's go ahead and land this aircraft. Then we'll take a look at the landing replays. Have a bit of more fun. And after that, we shall call it a day. So let's try landing this at about 100 knots today. Okay, so I'm going to open up the throttle just a little bit to maintain that speed. I am going to have to put the RPM up for the propellers. There we go. Looking okay here. Looking okay here. Very nice. Looking okay here. Trying to avoid the trees there. Alrighty. Okay, bit of a floater and there we go. There we go. Oh my god, I didn't realize the runway ended right there. Whoop, a little bit of an overrun there. I did not realize that. My bad. My bad. My bad. I did not realize the runway was ending. I thought we had a lot more room than that, but still not an issue. Got flat ground there. Not at all a problem for this particular aircraft to be here, but that's technically a runway overrun. But look at how beautiful the place we're in. Wow, that is beautiful. Damn, that is beautiful. That is beautiful. Oof. Look at that. That is beautiful. Isn't that gorgeous? That is a beautiful place. Okay, let's just turn our aircraft in towards the runway and then we'll take a look at... You know what, let's go ahead and park and then we'll take a look at the landing replay. And we did land with a tailwind component as well. Not a big deal, I don't really care, but you know. Beautiful. Beautiful. Let's find ourselves a little. As I said before, this is a flying club, a Shiraoi flying club, and as you can tell, there are plenty of gliders here. Let's just turn this way, shall we? So we'll turn this way. There we go. Still off the taxiway, but that's okay. It is a flying club and it does have appropriate scenery for a flying club. So that's fun. That is fun. There we go. We'll go ahead and park right around here. Ta-da. There we go. Lovely. Now let's go ahead and take a look at the landing replay, shall we? We'll take a look at it from this view. All right. First landing replay. We'll take a look at that little overrun there. Lucky for us, there wasn't much going on. Deceivingly flat. I thought that runway was much longer than it looked like. But anyway, here we go. Landing replay number 1. Thank you, Anas. I'm glad you enjoyed this flight. Thank you. I hope you enjoy these landing replays as well. Look at that, we're right about on time, 1 hour into the live stream. Alrighty, a little bit of an unnecessary floater over there, but nothing too serious. And then we've got the little bit of a runway overrun as well. Luckily it's just a bush, just a little bit of grass, not a big deal. Not a big deal. It's a very lovely tree on the side there. Very nice. Okay, let's have a look from another view, shall we? Which one shall I use? This view? Oh, this view. Okay, we need one from this view anyway. We'll also have the cabin view as well. Let's take a look at this landing. Let's go. Thank you, Anas. Glad you enjoyed that replay. Here comes a few more for your viewing pleasure. Alrighty, let's go to another view here. Let's see, which one shall we use? Which one shall we use? Now, we usually have a lot of different landing replays. We have a lot of different views, but I don't think we've ever had one with these two views, right? So we can pick one of these two views. That will be our last external view. Then we'll see what it looked like from the cabin, and we'll shut down the engines, and that'll be it for us. So let's take a quick look at this replay. Alright. Let's see what the passengers saw now. This is the second last landing replay. Okay, beautiful view of the mountains. Second last landing replay. Excellent. Excellent. Final landing replay for the day. All right. Hope you guys enjoyed that. Let us now fast forward to where we parked ourselves in. Shut down that aircraft. And we can call it a day, ladies and gentlemen. So let's go ahead and check out our aircraft right here. There we are at the Shiraoi, I believe it's called. Again, Japanese names, I messed them up. Shiraoi Flight Club. Let's go ahead and get those propellers feathered. That doesn't usually work on the G58. For some reason, the propellers don't really feather. So that's something. Okay. It's off. Cowl flaps are closed actually. Alternators off. Prop sync. Avionics off. Beacon lights off. Panel lights off. Pitot heat off. Batteries off. Oh wait, before we turn off the batteries, we need to push up our flaps here. Cowl flaps are closed. Okay. Once that is done, we can say magnetos, or the starters, to off. I believe they're called magnetos here, aren't they? Yeah, I believe those are the magnetos, okay? Or the engine starters, whatever you want to call them. Okay, we've got all that off, and we've got our battery off. Come on, open up. How do you open this thing? For some reason it doesn't open. Ah, there it is. Okay, open up that door. Open up this door as well. There we go. And just like that, ladies and gentlemen, we are done with today's live stream. Brilliant, isn't it? Perfection. Perfection. Look at that. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Shiraoi Flight Club. Look at the level of detail on that texture. See, this is what I don't understand. Certain things are so nice in 2024 that the detail is crazy. Look at that. I mean, they're floating off the ground. I understand that. But look at the level of detail on the rocks. And then once you go like up, look at how crappy it becomes. Look at how low resolution the textures are. Then when you get closer, everything just turns into something much better, like really close. So that's Microsoft needs to do something about that, man. This is just absolute garbage when it comes to going up. But otherwise, look at how beautiful this area is. Look at that. Shiraoi Flight Club, ladies and gentlemen. Okay. With that, I hope you enjoyed today's flight. If you did, please leave a like and don't forget to subscribe. Thank you so much for tuning in. Hope you all have a wonderful weekend, and I shall see you in Mehmet Emin. Hello there, Mehmet Emin. You have caught us at right towards the end of the live stream. We're just about winding this up. I believe this is your first time in the channel. Hello, hello, hello. How are you doing? Thank you so much for chiming in and saying hello. Hopefully you'll take a look at the live stream. It was pretty fun today. So once again, thank you so much to everybody who tuned in. Thank you to Anas and Mehmet. Hope you guys are doing well, and I hope you guys have a good weekend. All right. With that, I'll leave it here. I will catch you in the next live stream tomorrow, probably a couple of hours later. I shall put out a post roughly 2 hours before tomorrow's live stream. So yeah, see you in the next one, and thank you so much.